All right, in this sketch, we're going to help you to discover why you should make disciples if you're a follower of Jesus. In fact, this is why the tools at pursuegod.org exist, is to equip you to make disciples. But before we tell you how to do it, you have to understand why you should do it in the first place, or you won't get out there and start making disciples. When Jesus came to the earth 2,000 years ago, he had a really simple mission, and it's a mission that we share if we are followers of Jesus. He wanted to help people pursue God. Now, think about all the people in the world at that time, all the people that he was trying to help. To accomplish his mission, what he did is just simply disciple 12 ordinary guys for 3 years. This was his strategy. He knew that he couldn't disciple all of those thousands of people who came to listen to his messages. He had to invest in 12 guys, and he did that. He just shared the truth with them. He helped them to understand what their purpose would be, and then he sent them out to go disciple the next guys. When Jesus died on the cross and rose from the dead and then left the earth, he didn't want his impact to leave the earth. He just wanted his impact to go on generation to generation through his disciples. In other words, he expects every one of his followers to be a disciple maker all the way to today, 2,000 years later. But the reality is, most Christians don't do this. And that's what we want to try to fix in this series. Take a look at Matthew 4. Jesus was about to start his ministry, and he's walking along the shores of the Sea of Galilee, and he sees two brothers, Peter and Andrew, and they were fishermen. And he called out to them and he said, "Come, follow me, and I will show you how to fish for people." Go back and study this passage for yourself. But I believe that Jesus picked fishermen instead of Pharisees to make a point, right? Jesus could have gone to the Pharisees, the religious leaders of his day, to invite them to be his disciples, but he didn't. He went to ordinary people, and here's why. He wanted us to know that regular people can do this. If you're watching this video, chances are you're a regular person and you've never discipled anybody before. So be encouraged. The first followers of Jesus were regular also, and they did it, and they changed the world. Look at chapter 9. It says that when Jesus saw the crowds after he was preaching to them, he had compassion on them because they were confused and helpless, like sheep without a shepherd. And then he turned to his disciples and he said, "The harvest is great, but the workers are few." And then he sent them out to disciple the people. Now, I want you to think about this passage for a minute because there's a great insight here. The crowds had sermons, just like so many Christians and seekers in our churches today. But what they really needed was a shepherd, right? A sermon can't disciple somebody. One preacher preaching to a large church or even a medium-sized church can't disciple people with those sermons. And that's why regular Christians throughout our churches need to know how to disciple people, how to shepherd people, because the sermon can't do it. Now, let's take a look at one more passage from Matthew, and this is one that most Christians know. It's called the Great Commission. Jesus said, "Go and make disciples of all the nations. Baptize them, teach them to obey everything that I've commanded you." Jesus spoke these words shortly before he ascended into heaven. See, the reality is that Jesus doesn't make disciples anymore. That's our job. That's our commission. And the point is that this was a command. Jesus was telling us we need to do this. It's not a suggestion, right? If Jesus commands other stuff in the Bible, we're going to pay attention to it. So let's pay attention to this. Jesus wants us to go out and make disciples. And he wasn't just talking about starting Bible studies in our churches to make smart Christians a little bit smarter. He actually wants us to go into the world and help people pursue him. He discipled the 12 and they did their job. And then those people did their job. And generation after generation should lead us to today. And now it's our turn to do our job. So, why make disciples? Well, because Jesus said so. It was his plan. It was his strategy from the very beginning. And if you're a follower of Jesus, we want to help you to do that. And that's what our tools are for at pursuegod.org. Now, I hope you're doing this video and this whole series with a group or with a mentor. And keep going until you go out and help people pursue God.